All right, let's make sure all the streams are good. Looks good so far. Good there. And we're good over here. I think. No. Hope everyone's having a good night so far. I'm just getting started here. There is some stuff that I want to work on. The game is in a really, really, really nice spot right now. What do y'all think? Pretty good, huh? I'm kind of not too unpleased myself. It's gonna be a long ride to get this whole thing fully shaped and out there, but because of the development pipeline, I'm able to allow people to play it as I push builds to the web. So you have the ability now to actually buy the game. I decided to paywall the game, unfortunately. That's right. It's kind of mission critical that I start getting some stuff rolling, and I would need to and want to drive people into helping this game along so that I don't have anything to worry about and I can just focus on making this thing happen, because it's going to take a long time either way. And the more time that I can focus directly on the game's development, the better. So with your support, it's very rare that a developer offers players the chance to play a game before it's complete, to be able to give real-time feedback in development process. I personally think that's really cool. So shout outs to everybody who decides to support me. So there's a couple bugs in the current build that, before I really get around to adding new content, need to actually fix. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So what is it that I need to actually fix? Well, it's hard to describe without directly showing, but one of the there's actually a bug with the way that the shadow vision distance mechanism works. It's not perfect. There's definitely a glitch in the algorithm, and as a result, the patterns that get revealed as you move into new tiles is not quite correct. So I'm going to have to examine that and see how I can go about fixing it. And with any luck, maybe I'll be able to actually leverage some AI in the whole process. So pretty soon I'm going to change this into like focus mode, where I may not necessarily talk as much as people normally would want someone to talk during a stream. Is it raining? Negative. It is not raining. Let me check the chats before I get started here. Nope, nobody in. That's all good. What about on that other place that I don't regularly check in on because viewership's so down? Sometimes question whether or not it's even worth. But I've still got another like month of restream, maybe something less. So might as well use it while I've got it. What's happening, Saga Pan? I'm glad I decided to check the chat, because people ain't been showing up on the Twitch side for a hot minute. So glad to have you. What do you think of the game so far? It looks pretty good, right? So in order to show the actual bug that I'm dealing with, I'm going to have to make a change. We're going to have to temporarily disable the the creation of the orc. So we're gonna check out a new branch. And what is this branch for? Shadow reveal bug fix. Before I continue, I'm going to grab my milkshake. It's actually a protein shake, but it hits all the same. So first we have to disable the creation of the enemy. All we have to do that is hop into the init and comment out our orc. And actually, before I continue, I'm going to turn the music down. All right, so the problem that we're facing here. So by default, first of all, his reveal distance to the right and down should actually be 1 greater than it currently is. So this is definitely a problem. But it kind of fucks in different ways, right? In certain conditions, see there now all of a sudden it's bigger. Like he should have 2 above, but like it doesn't fully reveal. And I think part of the problem is that I'm having a conflict of which variable is actually doing this thing. Hi, Riona Ghana. How are you doing tonight? I am multi-streaming. Right, so the problem, as you can see, as I just meant, so the reveal distance is differing from what it actually should be. And I believe this is because there's an inconsistency with the vision distance and the light radius components for our hero here. So I have to dig in and kind of resolve these numbers. My baby girl just popped up, so we're gonna have to use this opportunity to step out front. Stay tuned, because I definitely got stuff I'm doing here. Alright, so we're now in debug mode. Here's where the meat is. When we update the tiles explored, Think about this for a minute. I believe this is correct. But perhaps the bug is actually over here. We just changed this down here so that something's outside of the light radius, we draw it with a fade instead. Because vision distance may not necessarily have anything to do with this, right? But we never set a light radius on the player. And we never set a light radius on any of the NPCs either. NPCs may not necessarily have a light radius. Or maybe they do. But when tiles are revealed, it's only with regards to the player's light radius. Well, vision distance will have an impact on whether or not, like, even within a light radius, because, like, you could have a light radius bigger than your vision distance. Here, let's try this. Okay, this is obviously correct. Try light radius 2. All right, it's starting out good. Okay, this is actually correct. Try light radius 3. Oh, and yes, so as you can see, so the vision distance does impact this here. So there's actually an axe and a sword immediately to the right of the dagger. But you can't see them until you're one right next to them. So if I were to crank up my vision distance to match my light radius, Now we can see everything. And they pop back up like that. I think in the very beginning, it makes stuff make sense if your light radius and your vision distance match. But let's flip that on its head, right? So we had it so that the vision distance was actually lower, right? But what if we had it the other way around? What happens if the vision distance is higher? So of course, in the very beginning, we can't see the items, but they are present outside of our light radius because we are effectively able to see past things that we've already revealed. And this can become actually something very useful. So you're only able to reveal a short distance in front of you, but you're still able to see things that are outside of the radius. And I think this is actually a very cool mechanic. All right, let's give the DeepSeek version a shot. All right, feels good so far. Cost less than a tenth of a penny. Ha ha ha. We can actually get rid of this version. Okay, do a fresh build. Better yet, let's get the enemies back in there. We got 3 orcs up in there. Yeah. Shout out to Rio Ghana on YouTube. I was using C at the beginning of this project, but not necessarily for maintainability, but doing dynamic arrays in C is kind of a pain in the ass, as well as hash tables. I didn't want to have to roll my own hash table for every single thing that I wanted to do. I actually did this a long time ago for the original way that I was managing the sprites. And I realized that I was going to actually need a hash table for every single component that I wanted to implement. And this is definitely a problem that I had to solve. With the help of Aider, I actually came up with this really cool data structure that's a component table. And what it is actually a map of maps. And the way that it does this is that I have a custom trait. It's basically like a wrapper around a type name. So, as an example, the name component corresponds to a string. The entity type component corresponds to an enum called entity type underscore t. Race corresponds to race underscore t. Location corresponds to a vector, which is a struct of 3 integers. Sprite move is a alias to a Raylib rectangle. Dead is a Boolean variable. Update is a Boolean. Direction, a direction underscore t. Attacking is a Boolean. Blocking is a Boolean. Block success Boolean. Damaged Boolean. Texture alpha integer. Pushable Boolean. Item type underscore t. Potion type underscore t. Weapon type underscore t. Inventory is a shared pointer to a vector of entity IDs, which are just integers. Equipped weapon is an entity ID. HP is an integer. Max HP, integer. Target is actually supposed to be an entity ID. Light radius is an integer. Vision distance is an integer. Aggro is a Boolean that I'm not using yet. What I want to happen with aggro is if there's an enemy or an NPC that's in the dungeon and it hasn't began attacking you yet, because it's not like hostile. It's not like, because some enemies out there will be just like coming at you, right? But other enemies may be like just chilling, doing their own thing. But maybe you went up and decided to smack one of these enemies. Well, then they'd be aggroed, and then they would target you, and their behavior would change. So one of the things that we can do is actually implement the mechanics of aggro. And in order to do that, I still have to actually build out the infrastructure for path computation. Because if you get aggroed and you get targeted and I decide to update entity actions again, because at the moment there's no default entity action. Everything's kind of hard-coded in. The enemy's current behavior is to move randomly. And then if they happen to get next to their target, attack the target. And this behavior can be encapsulated inside of a type. we can associate an enum or a simple integer index to reference default actions or behaviors or action taking heuristics that would allow the entity to make decisions depending upon what its current state is. And so a very easy switch that I could do is if we go ahead and implement the basics of that movement type, then we would be able to have it so that the NPCs target the player and then start moving towards the player. So as a demonstration of my ability to actually push to the web, let's go ahead and build for the web. That's a scary command, right? Lordy mighty. It's up to you wherever you want to chat. Like I can't stop you from where you want to chat at, but okay, so in order to push the web, first I copy the generated index files into that folder. Next, we run Butler. And it's up. I actually forgot to update the build number and build date. That's not as big of a deal. This is probably going to be a short stream today. I just want to hop on, knock out that bug. I'm glad I got that fixed. It's me a lot easier to focus on the next things. Combat's feeling nice, but we definitely want to get some sort of interaction with the shield. The shield should randomly deflect or block an attack. And implementing the shield is going to be a whole thing because I can easily drop the item in now, and I can easily implement a an equipped shield components. Now, while we have weapon type, we don't have a shield type yet. Now we can easily drop in a shield type as a component. We're going to modify these. Now that we have this new thing, we have to update the make file. Okay, so there's that. So it should all build, but we're not using the create shield function yet. Now, this is only the logical component, but let's see where the code is at, like whether or not it'll actually draw the shield on the screen. Because I still have infrastructure that should handle the graphics loading aspect, but I don't remember what the current state of all that is. Oops. We only want to make the desktop build right now. Okay, so it crashed because it couldn't find the sprite group. So this is kind of what I thought was going to happen. So create sprite group right ID. Yeah, we had commented out the shields. There's our buckler. We can even pick it up and look at it in the inventory. But unfortunately, because we're currently not handling the equipment aspect, we can't actually equip and attach it to the player. That's not bad. That's a better start than I was thinking. So we just go and create a buckler shield and drop it right below our weapons. Test it out. Hell yeah. Oh, and before I forget, I will update the version and the date. I actually ate once already, but I think I'm gonna eat again and saddle up so that I can go to bed early. That way I can get up and hopefully get on stream super early as well. Um, don't forget. All right. Well, it's been a blast, y'all. I appreciate you joining today. But I think I'm going to go and call it a night. It's been a pleasure as usual, and there's still so much to do for this thing to make it really fun. But all things in time, right? We're halfway done with the shield already. I just have to handle not only equipping it, but also making sure that the animation sequences are logical and that the shield actually triggers sometimes when, someone tries to hit you. Because that will greatly increase the longevity of the player, and it'll also give me a chance to properly update the stats and things like that going forward. So I hope y'all have had fun. It's always fun for me, even if it's a little short session like this. Unfortunately, this is the end of the stream. And until next time, everyone,